Buddy Paul Foster here with Secondhand Productions, and today we're going to do something I absolutely love doing, which is watch a short film. Now, I watch a lot of short films because I find they're very useful and they're very informative, and I can learn a lot from other filmmakers. I also like to support our other filmmakers that are in the community, and it is tough. So if you finish a short film, that's an accomplishment in itself. So I have a short film that I watched the other day. It was written and directed by a guy named Bradley Page. He's a student out of the UK. This film went to festival. It did a bunch of good stuff. It got selected into a whole bunch of festivals. Then it won some awards. They rained all kinds of accolades down on these guys. See, it was edited and produced by Miles Brown, and Bethany Billy is the star. And so when we come back, I'm going to go through the pros and cons of Element 186. So let's start with the story. So this is a story about a young female explorer who takes a chance in a last chance effort to try and find the one element that could save humanity. So she sets out and then crash lands on a planet where she struggles to adapt and survive and find her way off the planet. You don't find any of this out in the film. Matter of fact, through the whole film, I had no idea what Element 186 means. And actually, I wouldn't have found out about the backstory on this particular film had I not gone to their Facebook page, where I found an article that was in a newspaper that kind of gave you the breakdown of what the actual story was. Once you read that, then a lot of stuff you see in the film makes a lot more sense. When you're shooting anything, is what does the audience actually know, and when do they know it? Because if you create a story and you leave information away from the audience and you assume they're going to figure it out, chances are pretty good. Some people might love it, some people are going to walk away and not understand it. Early on in the film, you see one of the first problems that I think it's kind of takes away from the performance and the location and the story, and that's this helmet. It's a 1950s Russian high altitude fighter pilot helmet, and because it's loose, she's taking in the cold air and then she's exhaling, and you can't even see her face. And a little bit later, there's some scenes where it's interfering with her performance. To me, it is, as a director, it interferes with the performance of the actress because it's kind of like offset, it's clunky, and it doesn't add to the performance. And I'm not saying it hurts the project. What I'm saying is, if you get a chance to go back and you get to reshoot this, I think that would be something you'd want to address. I believe this was filmed in Scotland. I have to double check that. So it's a great location scouting on their part. And so I think that really worked out and complemented the film as a whole. I actually had to watch the story a couple times. There's a part where she comes across a communicator to help her communicate with what I believe is the fleet or another ship that's up in orbit.
Are you there? Do you read me? It's so good to hear your voice, Captain.
Are you safe?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm just...
So she wasn't alone. And when she finds that one, she communicates with the captain.
I removed the glass briefly, that was it.
These rules are in place for your safety. You know that. You've been trained, young.
So what are you saying, Captain? You're going to leave me here to die?
Then the captain is very dismissive of her because she had done something. She had basically removed her face mask without them doing tests and stuff. So now she's contaminated, and they can't take her back on the ship.
You can move your helmet on an alien planet, regardless of protocols, regardless of Christopher's advice. A personal AI is there to guide you. You've done this to yourself.
Captain, don't do this.
Goodbye, young.
They leave her there. Just sorry, see ya. And that one's a hard one to swallow, because you would think that they would, and this is where you get into the continuity of the story. You know, what's believable and what's kind of a pushing of the envelope. When the captain tells her that we're not going to help you, she becomes extremely. It's like that moment of, you're fighting to breathe. You're fighting to get above water, kind of thing. Like, you don't want to accept your reality. She does have that moment.
It wasn't personal, young. It's just the way I'm programmed.
And then she gets up and she walks away. When she walks away, she drops the helmet. And for me as a filmmaker, that tells me that that's what she's given up on that. She's walking away from them, and she's going to try and figure out another solution. The bigger story was what does Element 186 mean? That's the question. What does that mean? And unfortunately, that didn't get answered in the pilot. Now, I don't know if they're coming out with a second episode. I've gone to their Facebook page, and you can check out their Facebook page below. And it looks like they did some work, and they were in the process of filming a second episode. I hope they come out with it. It looks kind of cool. And maybe it gets answered in that. But it definitely wasn't answered in the pilot. Now, I know for some people they're going to say, well, wow, you're pretty rough on that film, but I really did like this film. I think it had a lot going for it. I really liked the locations. I thought the acting was pretty good, and I enjoyed watching her through this process. One of the things I liked the most about this film was the simple concept. When you're talking about doing short films on a micro budget, it's really important to not think big and grand as far as actors, the number of locations and everything. They had a single location, they had one actress, and they had a couple two voice actors, and I liked it because this told the story. Now, I know I picked on about the helmet, and that's minor stuff. Just more of a suggestions moving forward on how you can kind of correct for that moving forward, so that it doesn't hurt the story down the road. Thought the writing was good. I thought the locations were good. I thought the cinematography was pretty decent. They didn't get too crazy with it. He had a couple shots that were significant. He had the shot of her standing up, which was kind of creative in the way he approached the stand up with her hovering over the camera. It was a low to high angle shot. Then there are some shots that weren't necessarily the best, but that's typical when you're talking about student filmmakers, amateur filmmakers, and as we learn, we just get better. It's just the nature of it. And then they had the shot at the end, which I thought was the most significant, when she dropped the helmet. Because you go from the wide angle, she's walking away, and when she goes to drop the helmet, it cuts to on the ground, focused on the helmet, and it was after the AI tried to plead its case. Hey, don't blame me, it's my programming. So I think this is a cool short film. It's interesting. Now, when I look at short films, I do dissect them the way I dissect them, and it's not intended to be detrimental or rude or obnoxious or anything by that stretch. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely go support these guys. He's a talented filmmaker. I think you'll see a lot coming from him in the future. I hope you do. I hope they are able to make the sequel to this and actually do the miniseries, the web series. I know it's been about the last update on this one was I think late last year. So I hope they didn't shelf it completely, because it's a cool concept, and who knows, maybe they do come out with it and they had actually addressed this stuff in later episodes, and this pilot kind of left you hanging wanting more, which I think it did. Obviously, I went and I checked out their Facebook page. It's going to be below. I watched it multiple times, and they had a website listed at the end of the video, but that website was down. So there you go. If you like this video, definitely like, share, comment below. Tell me what you thought of the video as a whole. I mean, the short film. Tell me if you agree with any of my assessments, or if you think I'm kind of off base with that. I'm interested in your feedback, your take, and I'm not beyond reproach on this. If you want to watch one of my short films and you want to go in the comments, and leave some feedback. I'd love to see what you have to say. Trust me, you got to have thick skin if you're going to be in this business. So until then, like, subscribe, hit the bell so you can keep updates. We hope to see you next time, and we will talk to you all soon.